Islam, my friends, is indeed evil. Look.
Perfectly said. No problem with this. And no, this is no, a lot of people think this is intolerant. He's talking about Islam. So this does not violate liberalism. In fact, you are not really a true liberal if you disagree with this, because Islam violates all liberal values. This is not bigotry. There's no issue with what he's saying here. It's perfectly said. And he's talking about Islam. He didn't say all Muslims are evil. He said Islam is evil. Anybody who has studied Islam, if they disagree with this, they're either evil themselves or they're idiots. So perfect, beautiful, to the point, powerful. Listen to this again.
Islam, my friends, is indeed evil. Look at its so-called prophet Muhammad. He slaughtered Jewish tribes. He raped a young girl. He gave sex slaves as a gift to his henchmen. And he is still today an example for more than 1 billion Muslims worldwide. No wonder that some of his followers take to terrorism. Islam preaches hatred, propagates violence, and is barbaric and violent by nature. It wants all Muslims to submit. It is incompatible with freedom as we know it. And nothing will ever change that. That's why we should de-Islamize our societies in order to stay free nations.
Everything he said is completely correct, and the de-Islamization is also required for you to remain a free nation. But what we have to figure out is how. The how is the key issue.
No appeasement, no concessions, but vigilance, perseverance, and strength against barbarism is the one thing we should do. And I hope with your support.
Yes. No problem here. Everything he said is 100% true, accurate, and powerful. We need more politicians like him. So far, no problem with anything he said here. So far, the only parts that I disagreed is the banning the Quran or shutting down mosques part. Okay, fighting Islamization, fighting Islam, trying to defeat Islam, trying to remove Islam for society, understanding the true evil nature of Islam. Everything is good. Okay, but fighting Islam in the education system, that's fantastic. All of that is good. Banning immigration, mass immigration from Islamic countries, that is also good. Okay. The only two parts that I so far disagreed was banning Quran doesn't make any sense. You can't ban the Quran. It's on the freaking internet. And even if you could, it doesn't work. It will just make it more popular and it will make it spread faster and wider. And also closing mosques that are being funded from foreign countries, that's completely obvious that you should be doing that. But just closing any mosque, I mean, he can't. These are things that he's asking for that he cannot even do because it violates Netherlands constitution, right? Closing any mosque because of their view that people have in there, that is not going to work. That shouldn't work. Because you shouldn't be even doing that because that violates your principles of your country. But even if you could, it will backfire. Islam will grow faster if you could do that. Okay, so again, the solutions that I have offered from the state and from the citizens, the state, stopping immigration from Islamic countries, which he agrees with, stopping the teaching of Islam, promotion of Islam in schools, but that's not enough. Teaching the skills and knowledge that makes children less likely to believe in Islam, and even the children from Islamic households to leave Islam. You have to study. You have to have studies on what in school will make children of Muslim families leave Islam. That's what the state should be doing, right? Critical thinking skills, right? Science, the history of religion. These are the three things that they should be teaching them from very early on. They will leave Islam. Leave it, and don't ban the Quran. Actually, encourage people to read the Quran. Right, that would make people leave Islam. So that's the responsibility of the state. But don't forget the responsibility of the citizens. It's not just the state; it's the citizens that have to do. You're the activists. The state should just stay out of your way. The state should not be controlling what people say. The state should stay out of the way of what people are saying. And then when the state is out of your way, then it's now your responsibility not the state's responsibility. Take responsibility as a citizen. Stop asking your state to do everything for you. You have to be fighting Islam yourself. It's on you. It's on you. You know, when it comes to the modern understanding of a nation state, it's not just the state serving the citizens. The citizens should also be serving the state. It's your country. You should fight for it. You should be fighting Islam. All right, let's go to the last video. This is a very old video, 7 years ago, but I wanted to make sure that I include this one just so you understand that this man is not the biggest. But let's listen to this.
If we want to be liberated, if we want to be a sovereign country again, we need to get rid of this institution that became very multilateral and very political instead of economical, how it started.
But why not be inside? Why not try and reform or make change along with the other member nations? I mean, you're going to have to do business with them anyway in some way, shape or form in a globalized world.
If I want to, as a person, or you want to decide in your home who to have as a guest and when the guest should leave, you are independent to do that. We are not able to do that anymore.
So you're talking about...
So he's wrong here, and now this is him 7 years ago. Him today is actually has changed his tune. Him today is now trying to change things from the inside, and he's playing game, and he's not anti-EU anymore.
You're talking about immigration.
I'm talking about immigration.
Yeah, so he's talking about immigration. He thinks that they have completely lost control, but and that's why he's against these international institutions. But now they have a seat. Now they are more influential, and they might be able to actually control immigration from the inside. I hope. We'll see. Because you can see now even the center right political party, the EPP in Europe, is also becoming tougher on immigration. So this is a direction that if we keep going, it might actually improve Europe as a whole instead of one country at a time. Because again, Europe stronger together. Again, every country's national and their own independence should be respected. EU should be the European Union should be stopped from having too much control in every country. But again, that should not mean that you are against the entire thing. Countries working with each other makes each one of the countries stronger. You just have to try to stop them from meddling too much into your internal politics rather than completely removing it.
Immigration, I mean, and I believe that every democracy needs a nation state. Needs a nation state, a country of its own, where people around their own flag can rally and have their own identity. A nation state is exactly what the European Union wants to get rid of.
But, coming here to me...
No, not necessarily. If the European Union is overtaken by far left woke parties, then yes, that would be something that you should be worried about. But if the European Union is more balanced and it also has a lot of right-leaning parties in there, then instead of the European Union being against the very concept of the nation state, it will actually strengthen the nation state, because now they're respecting the nation state, and each nation state working with other nation states will make all of them stronger together.
You, even the past couple of hours, as I walk the streets in The Hague, you're not going to be able to turn back the tide of immigration. It is part of the Netherlands now. I mean, it's part of its identity.
I'm not saying that I want to build a wall around the Netherlands, but at least we should be able to decide ourselves from which countries we want immigrants and from which countries we don't want immigrants. It's impossible to do that today without the consent of Brussels.
Right, exactly. It's unbelievable that you as a country cannot decide who enters your country and somebody else decides that for you. That is insane. That is insane.
Became Prime Minister, would you cater to your Muslim constituency?
The first thing I would do is not only leave the Netherlands, leave the European Union, but also stop the immigration from Islamic countries, which does.
So stop immigration from Islamic countries. He's still saying that, but leaving the EU, he's not saying that anymore. He changed his tune.
Doesn't mean that the Muslims that are in Holland today should leave. Everybody who is already in my country today, and everybody who adheres.
See, look at this so-called bigot. Listen to what he's saying here. Here's what a lot of you in the live chat say that he hurt and now it disagrees with. Geert or Hurt, he disagrees with you guys, because you're saying that if Muslim citizens of your countries should be kicked out. A lot of you in the live chat say that, and I'm like, what are you talking about? Okay, this is like, I mean, they're citizens of your country. You try to fix something, you try to fix a scar on your hand, and you chopped off the hand entirely to fix the scar, right? Like, do you know violating the citizenship rights of your country basically challenges the entire concept of your nation state altogether? That is unbelievable. And he agrees with me. Like, this so-called bigot, anti-Muslim bigot, he agrees that once you're a citizen, you should have all the rights and freedoms of everyone else. So see, he's not a bigot at all. He's actually understands the fundamental values of Netherlands that needs to be respected. So listen to what he's saying here. Listen, this is very important. He wants to stop immigration from Islamic countries, but Muslim citizens are citizens. They're citizens. Listen to what he's saying.
Leave everybody who is already in my country today.
Wait, let me go back a little bit to make it more clear. Listen carefully to what he's saying.
Islamic countries, which doesn't mean that the Muslims that are in Holland today should leave. Everybody who is already in my country today, and everybody who adheres and confirms its behavior to our constitution, our law, our rule of law, and our civil society, is welcome to stay and equal as anybody else. But since
welcome to stay and equal as anyone else, anybody who's already here. Okay, this is him 7 years ago. 7 years ago, which he was supposed to be more extreme than even now. How is he even considered a bigot? I don't even understand. He's supposed to be the king of Islamophobes, right? I thought he was the biggest bigot of them all, and he was even 7 years ago. He was saying, if you're in Netherlands, as long as you obey the laws, you're welcome here, and you are equal to everyone else. Jesus, how did they ever classify this guy as a bigot?
My party believes, and millions of people who support us today, that Islam and freedom, Islam and democracy are incompatible. Indeed, without saying that all Muslims are bad people, we would want to stop the immigration and the import.
See, he's saying that about Islam, not about all Muslims. He's saying Islam is evil. True. Islam is incompatible with democracy. True. He says without saying all Muslims are evil. So he was perfect. It was always his narrative was always perfect. He considers Islam to be evil, but he doesn't say all Muslims are evil. He is targeting the ideology, but he doesn't generalize the people. Everything he was saying was always on point. Why did I ever believe that this man could actually be a bigot?
We would want to stop the immigration and the import of more people from Islamic countries. We would do that the same day.
Many would say that you use fear and blame for political gain.
No, it's not fair. Listen, if I would be some kind of fear monger, believe me, we are still one of the most tolerant countries in Europe. My party would have a support of 0.2%. You will find people who hate our guts, but you will find probably more people who support us. We are a very popular party today, and we are no xenophobes or racist or bigots. We are nothing like that. We believe that we should be in charge of our own identity and of our own country again when it comes to Brussels. And when it comes to Islam, we have nothing against Muslims. We believe
it sounds
that Islam,
like you do if you say you don't want anybody from Islamic countries coming to your country. That because sounds like you're against Muslims.
No, Islam.
So she doesn't understand the difference between ideas and the people. Okay, she says it sounds like if she said we don't have any problem against Muslims. She says, well, it sounds like you do if you say we don't want anyone from Islamic countries. No, but you don't understand. Okay, so if you come from an Islamic country, it's more likely for you to have bad ideas. That's unfortunately true. Even if you are one of the ones without bad ideas, it just makes it more likely. So we have to just defend our country and just reduce immigration from where you are, even if there are certain good people that might actually, not and may be able to make the filters. Again, sorry, our priority is defending our country. So saying that we have to defend, saying that we're against Islam, that doesn't mean that you're anti-Muslim. You're anti-Islam, not anti-Muslim. Saying that we have to reduce immigration from Islamic countries, that doesn't also make you anti-Muslim either. This is what people have to understand. People have to understand the difference between fighting Islam and fighting Muslims. In fact, what I always say, one of the main reasons why we fight Islam here on this channel is for the sake of Muslims, because the number one victims of Islam are Muslims. Don't put Islam and Muslims into the same category. Islam is the disease, Muslims are the patient. Okay, if you're against cancer, you're not against the cancer patient. You're against the cancer, not the cancer patient. Okay, so the Islam is the cancer, Muslims are the cancer patients. So if you think that you are the victim of Islam, well, guess what? Muslims themselves are the #1 victims of Islam. So one reason why we're anti-Islam is for the sake of Muslims themselves. But let's continue.
And democracy, Islam, and freedom are totally incompatible.
But people don't even practice in the same way.
No, but look at every country in the world.
That doesn't make that. Yeah, that's why. Okay, she's like, but not everybody practices in the same way. It doesn't matter. When we say we're anti-Islam, we're anti the fundamentals of Islam. The fundamentals of Islam are the same, regardless of what different Muslims do. The reason why different Muslims do different things is because different Muslims take Islam less and more seriously. Okay, but the fundamentals of Islam is in the Quran, it's in the Sunnah, and they're evil. So it doesn't matter that different Muslims act differently. That means Muslims are different. It doesn't mean that Islam is different.
Islam is dominant.
You're going to the Republican convention.
Yes.
Why are you going?
I believe that Donald.
Anyway, so that's now that they changed the topic. Let me just